Welcome back to Let's Play Higurashi. Meakashi. The slowest one so far, since I still don't know if anyone's even paying any attention to this one yet. Then again, I could say that about all of them, really. Don't get comments often. But, I don't know, maybe it's a YouTube glitch that makes it seem like there's more views than actually are. But then, who likes the videos? Who are you, mysterious person? Yeah, whatever. Let's get on a bit. Oh no, wrong one. This kind of blends in, this one, doesn't it? So, my sleeping pattern should be back to normal now. I finally got some decent sleep. I had the most surrealist of... well, I've had more surreal dreams than that, really. I had this weird dream where I was traveling through time, sort of. Which, in a kind of way, is kind of fitting, really. It's like it was a disorientating thing where it's like, okay, I'm suddenly 10 years into the future or something. Then I'm 100 or so years in the future. And there was the other people I met up with that were other time travelers, and I can't remember much about it. But the reason why I say it's kind of oddly fitting is because when I woke up, it's like, okay, go into the college today, guitar lesson in the evening. Well, late afternoon, early evening, whatever. Okay, so gotta see if my bros give me a lift. I got my coat on, I got my stuff ready. Went downstairs and found out that it's Wednesday, not Thursday. I was like, oh, because Tuesday was a long-ass freaking day, I gotta say. I did like 2 separate recordings for Final Fantasy X, and the day felt really long, and it started off with me just being like, I feel like shit. And it ended with me, I feel like shit, but not as much as shit as I felt earlier. Oh, by the way, I feel like shit right now as well. So what did Kasai come for? I handed him a cup of tea. Before we... actually, I don't think we've had tea before, word-wise, for the word of the day. I know it's in here. I think it was cha, something like that. But let's confirm it. Tea. Oh yeah, kocha, not just cha. It's kocha. Actually, since I've got my your dictionary, we could see what kanji character is and point it out. Kanji, kanji, kanji. Kanji, kanji. What kanji has he got? Hmm. Apparently, actually, ocha, actually. In this context, by the looks of it. You got O, and that would represent cha, but what's that one? Is that one in here? Wait. Oh, wait, I do see one. Is that really it? Huh? This entry is confusing me. I can't tell if that's like what that's, but it's, oh wait, no. Bango-han? Oh, that's strange. Maybe it's like translates to, I don't know, like, well, they essentially are having tea over dinner, so I guess it makes sense. But this kanji character right here is only in the entry for dinner bits on the tea entry. How peculiar. Or maybe it was for cup of tea. I don't know. I could wait until dinner was over, but I wanted to get to the point quick. Which I didn't. I thought I should wait until we finished, but would you mind if I talked while eating? Who's speaking? Oh wait. Right. Okay. I thought I should wait until we finished, but would you mind if I talked while eating? It's been bugging me since you got here. It'd be much easier for me to eat if you started talking now. We received a call from the school today. Today? That's late. Sounds like they didn't want to make it public. So, what happened? Akane-san took the call. She said she was going to tell your father when the time was right. Akane-san is my mum. That's what Kasai calls her, as he's known her since before her marriage. So, what did she say? I was lucky she answered the phone, since she's relatively on my side. Other than calling you a brat, she didn't seem surprised by this outcome. I see. So she hasn't told Dad yet? She's probably waiting for the right moment. I think she's going to in a couple of days. Dad is on the hag's side, so you'll definitely talk to her if he hears about it. Then she'll have her men bring me to her, and depending on my explanation, make me offer a finger or two. Scary! I wish you could laugh it off, but please remember you're not the only one who... Ouch. You're eating too fast. I cooked too much rice and miso soup, so you have to have it all around. At least free helping's alright. A few days later, Mion told me that Hag had heard about my escape, and that she wanted several of your fingers. So, how did you take it? She was furious. She said that if you were in Okuma, she'd get you right away. Scary. And is Dad doing anything? You know, I wonder about that one. It's probably in kanji as well, I'd imagine. I've already forgot where the hell it is. You know, this is one thing that always confused me. See, that's hiragana and then katakana. It always throws me off when katakana is put in anything, because it just throws me off more than kanji characters. Yeah, I have no idea where in all that it is, as usual. Damn katakana, you throw me off completely. Scary. She probably didn't say it, wait, she might have. I can't remember. Kawaii, I think, is like one way of saying scary, but I suppose it depends on the context for the reading of it and pronunciation and all that shit. Because that's just confusing, isn't it? Scary Hand, is Dad doing anything? Well, the family council soon to see if any of the family members are hiding you. It doesn't look like she'll have the greenhorn search for you all over town, though. Holding the family council means that things will remain in the hag's hands alone. She won't search it down for me. It's like she's unofficially approving my presence. Of course, I'll get caught immediately if they find me in a large public place. Seems like Mum did a lot to help me. I can tell she's being supportive. It's a long story, but my mum is sort of an outlaw, even though she's of the Sonozaki bloodline. A long time ago, she had a huge fight with the hag because she hated the family rules and traditions. She was even excommunicated. My mum was supposed to be the successor, but she was deprived of the title and Sis took her place instead. Yeah, that's why it's like, why is Mion going to be taken over? What about her mother? It's just like, that's why. I can't remember when to go into more detail about how that came to be, though. But yeah. I'd also imagine that her mother is also the reason why Shion wasn't killed, you know, way back when she was originally just born, essentially. Because that probably added to the excommunication thing, I'd imagine. She's just like, no, I hate this shit. We're not doing that. While she's quiet now, Mion's still an Mum, not Mion, still an outlaw. She's always been on my side because I also hate rules and traditions. Dad was flaring up at first, but Mum pacified him. He can't win against her after all. Okay, thanks. Let me know if something comes up. If things really go bad, I'm ready to leave town. I can't let Kasai, Uncle Yoshiro, or Mum lose face. Sis, I know what you're thinking. You're asking yourself why only I have to go through this, even though we're twins, aren't you? Mion was silent. That meant yes. It isn't fair that only you have to live like this. It's absolutely not. Thanks, I appreciate your feelings, but we have the same voice because I forget how I differentiate between the two. Tell me when you want to go out. I'll arrange my plans so that I can trade places with you. She sounded apologetic. I shouldn't go quiet or agree with her. She sticks to things a little too much. Once she goes down, she'll stay there for a while. Also, I'm now realizing we're nearly 11 minutes into this. This means we're gonna have another part that has no character in the background. God damn you, why? So I just told her simply. Thanks, that's really nice of you. Okay, I'm hanging up now. Talk to you later. Higurashi when they cry. Kai! A smudged diary, oh god, not another bloody diary. That means we're not gonna have any character portraits.
Hello, sister. Achievement unlocked.
God damn, this arc is off to a slow start, both in uploading and terms of plot. Maybe we've heard some interesting things, but we need to see interesting things too. Characters appearing on screen. A smudged diary. Oh my god, is this Satoko's house? Oh wait, it is! It's right there! Satoko was crying while hiding behind my back. Okay, shit's got a bit interesting here. Now we're going on to Satoko and... well, since this is taking place a year before Keiichi appeared, this is technically when Satoshi was still around. By the way, we will actually see Satoshi. Like, I think this might be from his perspective, but we'll also see him as well, because, well, you'll see when we get to it. She's been crying while clinging on to me, so my back was wet with her tears and snot. My aunt had been screaming hysterically, but she looked tired now. I suddenly realized that it was already past 1 in the morning. She vomited out a series of screams one last time, then finally called it quits. Okay, we actually do get an appearance on this one. Satoko seemed exhausted. She was looking down in a state of shock. Even after my aunt walked away, she didn't realize she had been freed. So I stroked her head and told her, "It's over, Satoko." Satoko twitched. You have the same voice I give to pretty much every protagonist, including Keiichi. Who we haven't seen in ages. Her eyes grew bright again, and tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked up at my face. She knew it was over, but wanted to hear it directly from me. She begged me with a look. To be honest, I was really exhausted too, so I felt a bit annoyed when she tried to make me say it. But I needed to pacify her, so I gently told her what she wanted to hear. She's done with her scolding, so let's go to sleep. Alright? Satoko clung to me while her tears continued to fall. She was crying again silently. You know, if you remember you watched the Tatari Goroshi one, you'll know all the context about, well, to some extent, quite a bit of an extent, with Satoko and her uncle and aunt and all that. So, just like this is like puts in context to how, like, she was, like, her choices she made in that one, and why she did what she did, because she was like, yeah, with this kind of context, isn't it? She was crying again silently. Satoko was shivering pitifully. Her small back reminded me that there was nobody else to protect her. Here, go brush your teeth, make your bed, and go to sleep. Satoko smiled faintly and nodded. I felt dizzy. As I was released from the strain, a harsh drowsiness fell upon me. While Satoko was washing her face, I went to the toilet. I zoned out while watching my pee, and then probably pissed on the floor. Oh. In my dizziness, I almost missed a shot. He almost did. I felt like I was being sucked into the toilet. I couldn't even remember what caused it. Why did my aunt start screaming today? Well, it's totally unexpected, I gotta say, on that one. A smudged diary shows an image of a diary of some sort, doesn't show a diary in the diary entry. In fact, well, that was more of a cutscene than anything else. I mean, we freaking saw him speak to Satoko. That doesn't sound like a diary entry to me. But that was interesting. Finally seen more context in that.
It's a very quiet afternoon as always. Since I can't go outside as himself, I have to match schedules with Mion when I go shopping. I've gotten used to it by now, so it's no longer a hassle. Because of this, I naturally have to buy things in bulk. Today, I shuttled between shops and my home.
Hey, I got this, I got that. Oh wait, isn't it 100 yen sale today too? I forgot this. Being in a good mood, I spun around with my arms spread out. I felt like a little whirlwind. My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be. Again, deja vu here. Remember in Watanagashi when this happened? I mean, this is the answer to Watanagashi, but this is taking place a year before that, when it'll inevitably go into that. But you remember when it happened with Keiichi? Remember that? I miss Keiichi. It's just like, it was more interesting from his point of view, because he's just like so over the top. Well, he wasn't always over the top, but I know, it feels more natural with Keiichi, because we went 3 question arcs from his perspective. So we kind of grew with it, you know? Just like, oh yes, we can kind of understand Keiichi. With Shion, it's our first time in the spotlight here from being the first person perspective, or whatever the hell. It's from her perspective. So it's kind of different, and it takes a while to, you know, settle in. Oh, what the? Who parked this motorcycle here? I gave it a kick with no hesitation. My god, Shion. I mean, knocking it over is one thing, but kicking it, do you not realize that most people that own motorcycles, well, I mean, this would be the same if it's just a freaking car, really. You kick someone's vehicle, they're gonna be pissed. There were 3 motorcycles lined up there in a row. Oh, how deja vu of it to do so. They all fell like dominoes. It was a beautiful sight. This is fun, I thought. Being in such a good mood made me leave my guard down. I didn't realize that the owners of the motorcycles were right nearby. They looked pretty scary. Of course, they don't have portraits, though. They grabbed me by the neck and dragged me into a dark alley. Then they called me all kinds of names. Everything was happening too quickly for me to grasp what was going on. The fuck, you bitch! What do you think you're doing, huh? I'll see what that says in Japanese, though. Why do you think this is the Wild West, you son of a bitch? No, I didn't even freaking click on it right, did I? I have no idea what that actually says. It's all in hiragana though, so that's something. Fucking bash your head in, bitch! Ah! Gotta pay for what you did! Wow, they can't really talk properly. I didn't have a clue what they were saying. Neither did I when I tried translating. I had to translate the alien tongue into normal human words in order to understand. We are very upset because you knocked down our motorcycles. You should immediately pay for the repair and compensation. Yeah, that was probably it. That's our offer. What do you say? We'd be happy to listen to your opinion. Something like that. Yeah, what? Sorry, I don't think I can continue interpreting. Ah! What are you saying? That's what she's saying. What are you saying? I know what they're trying to say, but somebody has to warn them about the way they park their motorcycles. It wouldn't be fair to those who obey the rules if there was no punishment for those who disobey them.
This is an accident, but it must also be God's will. But God, you can use me to punish these guys, but how will you compensate me later? I heaved a huge sigh. Of course, I wasn't afraid in this situation at all, because it wasn't a dangerous one for me. These three guys were yelling at the top of their lungs at a girl. They didn't look good doing it, and they had too many disadvantages. First, there was a difference in gender and in the number of people. Even if I did something wrong, as men shouting at a woman, it didn't make them look like they were in the right. Where if it was the other way round, and a bunch of women shouting at a man now, adding to that there were three of them, it already looked like it was going to get violent. Second, the location, taking the girl into a dark, narrow alleyway is already a bad idea, and top of that, they're asking for money, not just an apology. Thanks to these facts, the public will be on my side. So this was a fight they couldn't possibly win. Yeah, that is when you get to that stage, possibly. The only way for them to win would be to take my money before somebody finds out. Considering that, take me to this narrow, secluded alleyway mightn't have been a smart move, since few people will find out about this situation.
Ah, yeah, listen or not! I knew how slim their chances of winning were.
From the very beginning, they had picked the wrong girl. I'm Mion Sonozaki now. It'd be foolish to mug Reinoknimir. Soon enough, the people of Hinimiza would notice me and gather round. They don't spare mercy for their enemies, no matter what. The punks didn't know this area well. If they did, they'd have known how silly it was to rob Mion. Plus, the alleyway isn't always as empty as they assumed. This side street is a shortcut which local people frequently used on their way home. In the late afternoon, many people will be passing through here. That time had almost arrived. If I held off a little longer, the street would soon be filled with people. Then the punks would have to go away. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to wait in order to win. It was a simple fight like that. While they could hurl abusive language at me or lift me up by my collar, they weren't actually going to resort to violence. How can you be sure? Cheers to the educational system for ingraining the ladies first mindset. But as the wicked person, I want to toy with them a bit, even though I could win this by waiting. She's being pretty ballsy. I want to paint them as even more villainous and drive them into a corner that would be even harder to talk their way out of. That demonic desire was rearing its horns. To put it plainly, I'd only need to act as the poor, helpless victim a little further. Like the pathetic, pitiful, tragic heroine everyone wants to sympathize with. In a case like this, I shouldn't start crying immediately because they'd get nervous and draw back. If it were a truly threatening situation, that would work, but I needed something different here. I'd pretend to be strong at first. In fact, I thought, why don't I challenge them? And eventually, I'd start trembling, my voice would fade, and I'd get tears in my eyes. I'd be even better if I played the role of a strong girl who's slowly given in to fear. Mion and I probably the only ones who are capable of pulling that kind of stuff off. Well, I'm probably better than her.
Why didn't you let me go? Now, I already apologize. I talked back with a little hesitation. Am I getting tears yet? Yes. By the way, I've heard men can shed tears on command. I don't know about that. Well, I know I can't, but there's freaking like there's a couple billion people in the world, man, and all those guys. And to say that no guy couldn't cry on command would be bullshit. I mean, look at actors. They probably could do that shit if they're good enough actors. I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? You're putting on an act. I feel sorry for them. The three punks faltered a bit due to my sudden change in attitude, but they soon started yelling at me again. Had to keep it going. That way it did blatantly look like they're backing on a helpless girl. Please, forgive me.
What are you doing? What's with this girl, huh? Maybe I should have apologized later from the start. They looked like they were laying off a bit. Did I overdo it a little? It'd be boring if they let me go now. At that moment, cut it out! Don't you see her crying? Stop it! A boy around my age appeared. Can you guess who it'll be? He was skinny. He made music change. He looked weak. He looked younger than he probably was. He also looked smart. He bravely glared at the punks. What the hell? Who the fuck are you? Right the fuck off! The punks turned away from me to face the boy instead. The boy looked a bit agitated when the punks started yelling at him. They sure were ruthless, but the boy must have known that from the beginning. He must have known that he was going into a dangerous situation, yet he didn't hesitate. Fucking say something! Why don't you answer us? He must have wanted to shout back at them, but he probably never used that kind of language in his life, so he couldn't have expressed his feelings out loud. He might have not even known what to say, so he just kept on glaring at them, to let them know that he wasn't going anywhere. The three punks, though, might have thought he was just lost for words in his fear. But I knew different. The boy was overpowering them with nothing but his will. The punks were losing, so they resorted to violence and kicked the shit out of him. They grabbed him and knocked him down. They hit, kicked, and tossed him around. It looked painful, but I knew it was his victory to get his ass kicked. In the end, local passersby stopped the punks. They made no further fuss and just went away. The boy stood up. He was covered in dust. When did I change the art style? He smiled when our eyes met. It is... Well, you probably know who it is. But when did I change... I must have clicked on that. Yep. There he is. I must have done that when I was switching the thing. But hey, we got to see him first in his original art style. And asked me if I was alright. He didn't look particularly okay himself, though. How could you step into a fight you obviously couldn't win? Pick your opponents better next time. I hesitated at first. He laughed, saying that he was watching from the beginning. That meant he had the option to walk away. But instead he worked up the courage and stepped in. That was reckless, not brave. You're being a little harsh, Mion. You should at least say thank you. I saw you crying. No, I wasn't crying. It was just an act. Okay. Hey, you don't believe me, do you? Do you really think I'd cry? No, nobody will believe me on Sonozaki would cry when Bugsby bullied her. Why are you laughing? You really don't believe that was an act? I'd never cry. I believe you, I do. I realized one thing. He must be one of Sis's friends. He didn't seem to realize I'm her twin. He thought I was Mion with a different hairstyle. Mion and I had to live separately since before we went to elementary school. Mion was in Mizawa, and I was in Okinawa. I lived in a totally different environment from her. So it's not strange that people don't know me. Actually, only very few people know I exist. I almost told him that I'm not Mion, but I managed to stop myself. Shion shouldn't be here. He's from Hinamizawa. It wouldn't be good if he thought they saw a Mion lookalike in Okinawa. So I had to act like Mion. Dealing with him could be more difficult than handling those punks. Okay, then maybe that's him. Well, I was just relieved because he seemed to have a girly side after all. You sound hostile. What exactly do you mean by that? I thought you'd kick those guys' butts with some crazy martial arts, so I was really surprised when you just started crying. Hey! Like I said, I was acting. When are you listening at all? He gently put his hand on top of my head and stroked as if stroking a kitten. I could remember somebody doing that to me when I was little, but it had been quite a while since somebody stroked my head. I didn't know what to do. Why did it make me so embarrassed? My face reddened all at once. I couldn't say anything. Hey, are you making fun of me? I stuttered in embarrassment. He looked calm, as if he was used to doing this. Oh, whatever. Aren't you glad, though? Glad? What do you mean? Well, he didn't get hurt. He smiled while he kept stroking my head. His smile looked divine. He wasn't going to stay for long. He'd already saved me from those guys, after all. Well, I need to be going, so I should head off now. Okay. I wanted to go through all the steps of meeting someone for the first time, but he didn't. As far as he was concerned, he just saved a friend from danger and wanted to leave quickly to avoid seeming pretentious. He and Mion must be friends who knew each other well. So I couldn't bring myself to ask, "What's your name?" Mion's friend smiled once again. His smile looked as refreshing as a clear blue sky. This time he smiled a bit mischievously. Don't worry, I won't tell anybody you were crying. Well, nobody would believe me if I told them anyway. Nobody would ever believe that our invincible class president cried. He patted the dust off his butt once again. He walked back to the sunny main road, away from the dark alley. Then he turned around. See you in school tomorrow, see you in school tomorrow, Yeah, see you in school. He disappeared into the brightly lit street. I continued to sit in the gloomy alleyway. I could no longer see him. I was just staring absentmindedly at the bright light. And that was the first time I met Satoshi-kun. You don't even know his name yet! You've already spoiled it for us. Well, it was obvious who that was. Beloved Satoshi-kun! Can you guess that Shion has a crush on him already? I'm not even allowed to walk freely under the sun. I met a boy on a sunny day. How come a preserved guy like me fell in love with his innocence? Notebook, page 5. So she fell in love with Satoshi, and if you've read the other ones, or saw my Let's Plays of the question arcs, you'll know that Satoshi, well, we don't fully understand what exactly happened with Satoshi, but based on that, yeah. That must be Satoshi. It looks like what you described, and he has a habit of stroking people's heads. That's the typical protagonist thing, you know. Keiichi follows after him as well. We'll actually get a bit more perspective on that when the plot inevitably goes a year into the future, which is the present time in the main plot. We'll, like, see things from Shion's perspective again, but it'll be like Keiichi and Rena and all that will be there. I think actually Rena is technically already there, like a year before that, technically, really, wasn't she? So we might meet her before that as well. Maybe even Rika, who knows? Well, all the characters will inevitably be appearing. It's just like how long till we get to that. It's like the year before. I can't remember which characters are mostly involved in that. It's obviously Satoshi. I imagine Satoko's gonna appear as well by his side at some point, maybe, potentially. And then there's obviously Mion, she's already appeared. And Kasai, obviously. But I'm not sure about Rena and Rika. I think Rena, possibly. But I'm not sure about Rika. But definitely once it goes a year into the future thing, that will be when we'll see probably every one of the characters appearing. Which will be grand, because, you know, staring at the ceiling and stuff with no characters appearing half the time is a little kind of eh. But hey, we got to see Satoshi! Finally! The, shrouded in mystery Satoshi. The mysterious boy who has been mentioned before. Remember, like, way back in Onikakushi with Keiichi, and he's just like, so this is Satoshi's. Just like, and I felt like I could connect with Satoshi in this moment, and he had a similar moment in Tatarigoroshi as well. And then in Watanagashi, if you remember, like, some lines also mention Satoshi quite a bit as well, which is important to note. But whatever, we'll get to shit when we get to shit. And that'll be stuff. I was about to say, and that'll be shit. No, it'll be pretty interesting. But anyways, my battery, as usual, running low, and we've established something in this part, which is good.
we have finally seen Satoshi. The moment when... that's the title, possibly, for this. When Shion met Satoshi. It took most of the video to get to that point, but when Shion met Satoshi, it was love at first sight. But was it love at first sight for Satoshi? Well, he doesn't even realize that she's a different person from Mion. So who knows on that part? But she clearly fell in love at first sight. Just like... I don't know. You know what just like... Well, who am I to even question that? We got freaking Mion and Shion, they got green hair. So it's just like, oh, why is it that Satoko and Satoshi have blonde hair? You don't really see that much in Japan, you know? Usually it's like, when delinquents die, the hair is usually associated with. But then it's just like, well, they got green hair, so explain that. They're obviously born with green hair as well. Just like, I don't know, maybe it's some radioactive shit around Higurashi that turns people's hair color different. I have no idea. Then it got Rika and I think her mother and I don't think her father. We don't really see them appear in character portraits, but whatever. Rika has purple hair. I mean, Keiichi has brown hair. That's kind of normal. And actually, I think he's the only one that has normal hair. From like Renner's a redhead, and you don't really see that in Japan unless it's dyed hair, I suppose. I don't know. That is an interesting thought, actually. You know, like proper gingers, they have like a lot of freckles. I'm now trying to picture a Japanese person that is a legitimate redhead with the freckles and all. How interesting. Anyways, I'll see you next time, viewers. See you next time.